Hi everyone, my name is Arielle and welcome to our special internship abroad episode. We're going to be talking about real life and living abroad in Australia and what it's like to work and live abroad alone. And to back up my claims, I'm here with a fellow intern.
Hi, my name is Jack. I went to the University of Wisconsin. I graduated last May. I was a psychology major, but I realized like right before grad, I like didn't want to do psychology. I'm actually going to grad school for sports management. So I wanted to have some experience in that before I went to grad school. But I also knew after I graduated, I wanted to do like a gap year after like COVID. So this is kind of like the perfect blend for me to like do an internship in another country, and travel.
Yes, love that. And I'm currently a senior at the University of Central Florida. I'm doing a visual arts and management major. So my internship is revolved around art in some way, which we will further explain later. So to first start off our conversation, let's talk about our student housing, aka SCAPE, specifically SCAPE Swanston, and it was in the heart of Melbourne in CBD, and it had everything at our disposal, trams, trains, buses, everything was accessible within minutes, even cafes, restaurants, cheap eats everywhere. So, Jack, what was your perspective on living in Scape? I know it was a little bit rough for you towards the end.
Yeah, yeah. I no, I liked it. I liked that um so that it was I felt like it was in a great location. It was very like centrally located. So like you
Mhm.
said, it was in the heart of the city, which was nice. It was very close to like a lot of good restaurants. And a lot of like the busy happenings. It was definitely like at first, I was definitely like, whoa, because it was just very small. Like, everything was like all one room. And so that took some getting used to.
Mhm.
But I also like it was kind of like nice to like live alone in a way, like have like my own space.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, funny thing about Skate, so my roof just started like leaking at one point, and so they moved me up
Mhm.
to for free for like the last month in a suite. So that was nice. So I enjoyed that part as
Well, in
well.
Scape, yeah, that was good for
What
them.
about you? What was your experience?
I really like living alone. Like I told you before, this was like my first time living alone, like ever. Like I've never lived on my own before. So I was
Mm,
cooking for one person, cleaning, buying my own toiletries, learning how to cook even. And a lot of the appliances in Scape were like so foreign to me. Like we had to go down
mm.
and ask the people like, how do you use the stove and the microwave? Because
Yeah,
we had no idea.
it
And
was a
it,
weird. Yeah, it was confusing.
yeah. And it didn't come with any like how-tos or like paperwork.
No,
It was like, what the
no,
heck? But
no.
they
Yeah,
did give us like a pots and pan whole bundle and like a bed setting. So that was nice. We didn't have to buy that.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah. The pre-furnished. That's good.
yeah, but the studio is nice for one person, I would say. Like you don't have to buy too much things because there's not a lot of
Mhm.
space. So I guess you save money that way. And
The one
activities,
thing I was gonna say, the
yeah.
one thing I don't miss is that they didn't have a there was no shower door. That was just one thing. I really don't understand
Yes.
the thought process behind that, but
Yeah, there was no shower door.
it's
Even
still one
in your
thing.
suite, like your ultimate suite, was there a shower door?
No,
Yeah.
but I had an oven, so
Yeah, I don't
okay.
understand why there's no shower door. And I
Yeah,
think
that
in
was
the other
interesting.
students' scape, they had a shower door. Like, so I don't know what happened with our
Yeah,
scape. We just had no
that's the
shower
one
door.
thing.
Another pro in Scape is that they had activities, and Jack signed us up for pickleball. So that was very fun. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we did that one time. It was fun. It was cool to So there's like a lot of different scapes around Melbourne. So we stayed in like the Scape Swanston, but there's like a ton of scapes everywhere. So it was cool. There was like a lot of anyone could sign up for the activities from like any of the scapes. It was cool. So there's like
Yeah.
a lot of people you could do that. And yeah, we did pickleball. It was like 5 minutes from our place, and it was
Mhm.
fun. Like it was fun to like get out there and like do stuff, meet new people.
Yeah, it was at RMIT, the closest university next to our scape. And there were other peoples from, I think they were from different scapes, and some maybe, no, they were all from scape. They had to be
Mhm.
from escape housing. But
Yeah,
so a lot of them didn't know how to play pickleball. So if you're like interested in a sport
yeah,
and you don't know how to play it, like there's a lot of people who don't know how to play pickleball and like Don't
Yeah.
feel alone because I didn't know what I was doing anyway. Like, and as far as like the culture and scape, did we meet any new people?
Honestly, like not very much. Like no, honestly. Like we kind of just like hung out with the other people in our program, which well, me and you lived in the same scape, but the other people lived in a different scape. But
Yeah.
I think part of that was just I feel like a lot of people were very kept to themselves.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's partly like on me. I could have done a better job to be more outgoing, and I feel like that's something I would have done. Go out and meet more people, but I don't know. People just didn't really want to seem to want to engage. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you said that because we were sometimes in our lobby just like chilling and there were like nobody was in the lobby. Like probably like
yeah,
9 or so, 9 p.m. I saw some people like playing pool or ping pong, but that was like barely. So there was like no people hanging
yeah.
around anyway for
I
us to
didn't
be
really
like,
see
hey,
that.
like where are you
Yeah.
from? Like what are you doing? Like so there was nobody around to like even say hello. A
No,
lot of
literally.
them
I
like
would have so
ordered
just
food.
joined like ping pong games or something, or like they had like a PlayStation or whatever. Like I didn't think I
Yeah.
saw anyone use like any of those facilities. Like maybe ping pong like once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they were in the game room, they weren't playing games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about our internship now. So, Jack, you're doing something with sports management. What did you do
Yes.
for your job and like and how what was your commute like?
So my commute was really easy. They have a really good tram system in Melbourne. So it took me like 30 minutes like out my door and then getting there in total. That included like it was like a 5 minute walk, a little over 5 minute walk to the tram station. And then it was like a 20-minute tram to where I needed to go and it dropped me off. I worked at a big there's a big like sports facility. I worked with a basketball league that like ran out of that building. And so the tram stopped right out there. And
Hmm.
I'd work there. Yeah, so I worked with like it was a big basketball league that like covered like a lot of different groups. So it included like the semi-pro league, so like kind of like a D League kind of version to like their pro basketball league, and then it went through like a lot of like youth leagues as well. So I just kind of help around where needed, um, like at the place. Yeah, so I guess like that included like could be like more like busy work stuff. So I'd be like counting like a lot of like inventory, like I'd be doing a lot of like inventory, or I'd be like making like
Hmm.
schedules.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. What about you? How was your internship like? And what was the commute?
So yeah, so for my commute, I had to walk about, I think it was 8 minutes to the tram. And then I took a tram into Fitzroy, and that was about 25 minutes. And the trams aren't always on time. Like it'll say like on a digital monitor, like five
Mhm.
minutes or 8 minutes, but like you're looking down the street and there's like no tram in sight. So
Yeah,
definitely like take that into according. Like you will be late, unfortunately, to some places. Like I was
yeah.
late to work
Give or
and
take like 5 minutes of the tram,
yeah, they weren't really
even
like,
more sometimes.
oh my God, you're late. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like they know you're an
Yeah,
intern and for an intern, so they're not gonna like fire
yeah.
you. So
I
like,
feel like the work culture there was I liked. I feel like it was very like they were kind of very understanding
oh, of course.
of like work, but like also finding ways to like have fun and stuff. And they kind of knew we were like internship interns as well. So I think
Yeah.
they gave us a little more leeway there.
Yeah.
Like specifically with mine, they gave me like free tickets to like one of the Aussie Rules football game. I was like, thank
Mm-hmm.
you, like that's awesome. Like, thank you, I appreciate that.
Love that.
Um,
That's a
yeah,
plus.
so I feel like the culture there was good, like the work culture.
Yeah, at my job, the like a lot of the other employees, they knew that we were foreign and like we didn't know. Like they were interested in our culture and seeing like
Mm,
what is it like to be an American? Like what's fun over there? Like what do you guys eat? Like what's a typical American food? Um, but for my job was I did some graphic design work at a nonprofit called Culture Infusion, and it was split into two different programs. One was Diversity Atlas, another one was called Culture Infusion. And I specifically worked at Diversity Atlas, where it was the tech side of the nonprofit, where we sold our services and surveys to different companies that would entail to make sure that they know a little bit about their employees as far as their background, how diverse are they, where they come from, their ethnicity, what age or language, how many cultures are they,
I think that's also like really good when you're coming internationally, like not living in Australia. It kind of makes you feel more, at ease and welcome, which I
Right.
think probably felt
Yeah,
good.
for sure. Yeah, and a lot of them they were so nice and welcoming, um, and considering of like our situations. So that was really nice. Everybody in Australia is really nice, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say so too, for sure.
Do you think like your internship sort of like shaped your career goals in any way?
Um, I feel like not necessarily. I feel like it was different, I feel like, than what I expected. Honestly, but this is also like my first job, trying to like break into the sports world. So I
Right.
think I was doing like, I mean, I was an internship. I don't know what I was expecting. There was like a lot of like busy work stuff that I had to do. But I feel like that's just kind of like any entry level job, and it's I still want to go into sports. Yeah, I'm not, I don't know. I don't really know into the question too
So
much.
it was your first like sports management job, but it didn't really like do anything for you in a sense of like give you a taste of
Yeah,
what you would be doing.
yeah, like it's an exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
What about you?
Well, I think that it did more on like the diversity part, like because the job was heavily revolved around diversity and bringing awareness to different cultures.
Mhm.
So I think it makes my mission, I guess, in life more prominent in a sense of
Mhm.
making art more diverse around the world. So now we're going to go back to our student housing and talk about how actually was life like living abroad alone. So I personally grew up in New York City where I was used to the hustle and bustle of living in a city, but I know some people aren't and they come from small towns. So it's definitely a learning curve. Like for Jack, how was it like for you living in a city?
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I've never lived in like in like a big city like that, especially like downtown.
Yeah.
So that was like it took a while to get used to. It was very like I don't know, there's just like a lot going on, which like I liked, I liked that there was a lot going on. There was always like I mean big foodie, so there's always like good restaurants around. There's always like stuff to do. Like if you wanted to find fun stuff to do, you could always find, you know,
Yeah.
relatively easily, which was good. But I think that I don't know, I'm very much like I enjoy like the outdoors and just like being outside. So that like it made me like what was good, I feel like by living in the city is it made me like prioritize that. So I'd go out of my way to like I'd go if I wanted to read, I'll go to the park to read or something, like be by like trees or whatever. Or like I'd like make sure I'd like want to go on like runs or something. I'd like go to like this like I'd take like the tram like a little out of the city and go and like run around the
Mhm.
like hiking trails out there and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I feel like it was good that I was like it kind of taught myself to be intentional about like finding stuff that I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
I did like the accessibility of it all, but it was
Mhm.
also kind of overstimulating at times I found.
Yes. And it also taught you that you wanted to go out and find places where
Yes.
you find peace and you go running,
Mhm.
just like a moment of silence. So I think
For
that was
sure.
really important for students in general, like to be in an area that where they're not used to. And then
Mhm.
we eventually find out like where we want to be in a sense.
Mhm.
I think that's
How did
nice.
it feel like living in like I guess because you said you lived in like New York City, but like
Mhm.
Melbourne's a big city, but obviously it's like the other side of the world. Like, did you notice any differences, and like what was that like?
I mean, the big difference was seeing the tram on the street. Like
Mhm.
it was on a line. I don't know what they call it specifically, or track, I guess.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a big culture shock. And the use of the Mikey card was very different than the use in America and New York, where you swipe it every
Mhm.
single time. Like in the tram, it kind of seems like at your own risk, where you just tap and go. It's not really like protected
Mhm.
in a sense. So
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
either you do or you don't, pretty much. But in the city, I think it's very much similar to New York City in a sense that there's a lot of people. It's easy access. There's museum and galleries. The trains,
Mhm.
the trams, and the buses are all nearby. Um, I think the only thing that was like the only culture shock, probably was like actually I don't think there was a big culture shock, probably just the language barrier, maybe. And like
Mm,
when I would go to a cafe or something, they would always say, "What are you after?" instead of like, "Can I take your order?" And sometimes I'm like, "What do you mean?
yeah,
I'm not after anything."
uh,
But then I realize like they just want to take my order. And like the cafes are really
yeah,
nice because we don't tip. So we basically just
yes,
pay at the
because they're
counter.
paid fair wages,
Hmm.
which
Which
is
is very
good.
nice. So were there any like were you budgeting at all during your trip when you went out to your trips and eating?
Yeah, so I definitely should have budgeted better. I feel like I spent a lot of money because I'd like want to like go out and I don't know. The way like our take was like set up, the kitchen was just like part of the same room as like the bedroom. And like to me, like I don't know, it just made me like not want to cook. And I feel like that was just my excuse to like want to like eat out a lot. So I would eat out a lot. So I would go through the budget in that way a lot. But I did come into like this experience. I knew that I wanted to like travel after college. So I've been like saving up for a while. I always had like jobs throughout college to like save up and I'd like put it kind of into like a savings. And then also like the summer before I like worked for like 3 months. I worked like 40 hours a week, made a good amount of money then, which just kind of helped budget, made it so I can like do stuff like, you know,
Mhm.
eat out a
Yeah,
lot and do these trips.
that's good.
What about you? What was your budgeting experience like?
Um, Honestly, I didn't have a budget. It was more of a mental note in my head of how much I'm spending and to just be aware of my spending.
Mhm.
I know like when we first started out, we needed to buy food and toiletries, toilet paper. So that was a big thing. Like as far as when you
Yeah,
first moving to the country, there's gonna be a high volume of spending
yeah,
just because you need to get started and get up on your feet. But
yeah,
once we like get a handle of where we are and like our surroundings, the type of food that's there, like we can kind of like see where we want to spend our money at during the week. And
mhm,
also, an icebreaker for meeting people is going out to eat and like getting a cup of coffee or going to the park. So that was always like a huge spending because like it
yeah,
quickly adds up $5, $10, 20
yeah.
a meal. And it's so easy to just get coffee and just like go about your day every single day. So my thing was getting a matcha every day. So I was like, I had to budget for the matcha. It was just a must
The
for me.
matcha budget. That's funny. But I definitely feel you on that point of like, I feel like there's a cost of like being social for sure. Because I feel like, a good like activity, like catch up with people or like just to like go out for like dinner or something or like drinks. And so
Yeah.
that definitely adds up. I feel that for sure. What apps, hacks, or habits help you navigate life in another country?
Um, I used TikTok and Google Maps a lot. Um, TikTok is just a platform that literally has everything. So it had my location services. So I already knew I was in Melbourne. And it would just be like, go to this restaurant at this time. It would have happy hour, cheap eats, buy one, get one free, whatever. And it was like a nice, also 2-in-1 deal where we go to a new restaurant and it's sort of like discover a new area. And so that way, like we would add it to our list and we made group lists on Google Maps and like pinned places like where we wanted to eat and like those areas
Mhm.
like Fitzroy, Collingwood, the Yarra River was like really popular in the Melbourne
Yeah,
area for us to go out and eat. And a part of our program, so we're part of a program called TEAN WorldStrides, and we were lucky enough to come with a great group of 10 other Americans and one Swedish student. And our resident director, Julie, went above and beyond for us, giving us restaurant recommendations, beaches, bars, commute strategies. And it's really helped us to get a bit of our surroundings and feel more at ease in Melbourne.
mhm.
And the group that we came with, we all became really good friends and we all went out together. And it was just really nice to have a community and a network that you can relate to as far as like all being the same age and all wanting to this urge to study
Mhm.
abroad.
I think that you brought up a great point about like I think it just kind of felt nice having that support system behind you. I think I know that like when I first got here, when I first landed, it was kind of a bit of a um took a while to like get used to. And I feel like if I didn't have that support system, if I didn't have you, if I didn't have the other people, if I didn't have Julie, who was our resident director, I felt like I would have been felt like a lot more alone, and it would have been harder for me to feel, more comfortable and more at ease. So I think that really was helpful for the experience for sure. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
And in the beginning, we came together in Melbourne. Like we were all we had. We didn't have those other
Yes.
people. So we really
Yeah.
relied on each
Exactly.
other, which
Yeah.
is really great.
The first couple of weeks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So were there any culture shock for you in the city?
Um. Overall, I feel like I didn't feel much of like a culture shock.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very Western. So it reminded me like a lot of like America, parts of Europe, which I guess I just felt more comfortable. It was very like when I've been to like Japan or something or like Thailand, you like know it like instantly. You're like, oh, this is different.
Mhm.
Australia, like it just kind of feels like America with like a different accent,
Interesting.
in
I
ways,
just
at
said
least for
that.
me.
Yeah. Because the reason why I went to Australia because I didn't want to go to America. So it's interesting that you say
Mhm.
that it kind of resembles America, but with like European accents. And I
Yeah.
think that's pretty true. Like I was saying, CBD is like New York City, but in
Yeah.
Melbourne's version, but it's not
Hmm.
America. And Australia is very
Yeah.
diverse country. Like it has a lot of rural parts, like parks, lakes, hikes. It's so beautiful. And then it also has a really nice
Hmm.
city area. So you're really getting the best of both worlds there. So what were your favorite things to do in Australia?
Um, my favorite things to do is that I feel like living alone, like I feel like it
Mhm.
made me like want to like go out, and I've had to be way more intentional about like going out and like doing stuff. And so I feel like because of that, I feel like I was a lot more active than I was in the US actually. So I feel like some of my favorite things to do, like I just go out on like long runs, like or like long walks around like the city and just kind of like walk around and explore like new areas or just go on like a nice like long like scenic walk, I think was great. And then also I loved like I did a few trips throughout. I went to like New Zealand and like the Whitsundays in
Mhm.
Sydney, and that was I just love like going out and exploring, and like the beaches when I went there were not in Melbourne, but when I went there was truly amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you totally on like just spending on like experiences. That's like it's all about for me. So I love
Mhm.
doing that.
Yes.
What about you?
Some of my favorite things to do were definitely getting a matcha and just roaming around the city. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the easiest way to explore the city. But other than that, it was definitely going to the beaches and going on hikes, like getting out of the city was something that I really wanted to do a lot of the time because the city can get very overwhelming.
Hmm.
And I would go to Fitzroy a lot. It was like a nice, like quiet part of town. And it was also like urban. It was very up and coming. Visiting like vintage shops, going to art museums and galleries.
Yeah.
And Melbourne has a very big art scene. So that was big for me. And also choosing a country to go to.
Hmm.
So a lot of things to do in Australia for
It was
sure.
cool, but it was cool going to the art museums. I know we went to there was like one in Bendigo, but there was that
Mhm.
exhibit that I know we both went, but separately that
Yeah.
what I forget her name.
Yomi
Yo,
Kusama.
yes, that
Yeah.
one. That was cool. I liked that.
Yeah, that was one of the best exhibitions, probably one of the best that I've been to. To end off our special episode, what's next for us? So we just came back from Australia and now we're in this weird time gap of what are we basically going to be doing with our lives? Because a lot of people, we get asked often, okay, like now what do you want to do? Do you feel like you found any answers in Australia? And oftentimes I'm like, not really. Like if I was supposed to have this life epiphany when I went to
Yeah,
Australia. But I think you just like kind of know down the road. Like it's not like one straight answer. You just like kind of have that feeling, of like what feels right, you know? So what's next
hmm,
for me is that I'm gonna work as much as possible this summer. And then I'm going back to school this fall for my final semester, and I will be graduating in December. So this trip basically was like a taste of what it feels like to work and live in the real world, which was what I wanted to do because I eventually want to live abroad. And it came at the perfect time for me now that I'm graduating next semester. And for the future, I hope to be traveling abroad, and my next stop will be Greece. Crossing my fingers.
That'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
yes. And probably after I graduate, I'm not gonna move like straight to Australia. I kind of want to move to a different state, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm open to wherever my job prospects take me.
Mhm.
And Jack, how about you? What's the next for you?
Yeah, so I'm starting grad school for sports management in July. And the cool thing about that program is it's only once a week, so it'll allow me to like find a job, an internship, in that time. But yeah, I've just been like applying. I'm in that whole process of applying to jobs right now, and it is difficult. It's hard to hear back from a lot of places. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm hoping to find a job in it's in Southern California. So if I want to go to sports, I'm in a great spot for that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, just kind of see where it takes me. I'm really excited to like start like work and start like adulting. Like as crazy as that is to say, like I feel like last year I wasn't when I graduated, and now like I kind of had this year like under my belt, done a lot of traveling, and I feel like I've kind of grown into more the person that like I want to be, and I feel more confident in myself.
Mhm.
And you know what? I'm just gonna go where life takes me, you know.
I love
But
that. I feel
yeah,
like after Australia, we definitely got a really good mentality of what we want to do as far as like
mhm,
being adults.
completely. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not just gonna be like an epiphany of like, oh, like I
Yeah.
suddenly know what I'm gonna do with my life. Like that's not how it works. But I
Mhm.
think that like you said, like I think we both like are just have better tools to like go through life in a way, and kind of like because of this experience,
For
um,
sure.
doing something so crazy, you know, alone out of your comfort zone. So,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Love that. Yes. Thank you guys for listening to our experience living and working abroad alone. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Bye.
Bye. I feel like I said bye weirdly.
It's fine.